Why being single for so long changed my life. So I know you guys have been seeing that the name of my channel for years has been The Single Guy. When I first started this channel, that was what I was. I had been single for a long time and I was looking forward to being single for longer. Eventually, I got into a relationship. I've been in a relationship for the past 5 years. And of course, that came with some changes to the way that, I'm doing content now. But it doesn't mean that I regretted being single. I loved my time as being single. And if I ever go back to being single, I'll enjoy it again as well too. But I find that a lot of guys really judge themselves for being single too long, especially as you get older as a guy. You judge yourself, or maybe you just got broken up with and you can be like, oh, I gotta be single again. I don't have somebody. Dude, there are so many great things to being single that I learned that I would never, ever have been able to learn or go through or have or enjoy if I hadn't done that for so long. I believe every guy should enjoy his time being single, because if you do it the right way, it can be some of the best times of your life. So I'm going to give you 9 reasons why being single changed me for the better, why being single for so long was so great. Number 1 reason is I always know I can go back to it and I'm going to be okay. For me, I actually enjoy being single. I enjoy the freedom it entails. I enjoy the things that I'm able to do. I always know that I have an incredible amount of power when I'm single. Most guys don't know that. The reliance and the self-sufficiency that I built with myself, my ability to attract women, my ability to create social circles, my ability to create value wherever I'm at, those things really came about because I was single for so long. When you're with somebody in a relationship, you don't really develop those skills. Your focus is on that person a lot, or making another person happy, or doing things with that person and enjoying them together. So you become reliant on them. And then when you find that person is no longer in your life anymore and you can't do that, it's very, very challenging for a lot of people. They feel like they can't enjoy things by themselves. They feel like they can't do life without a partner or without people around them constantly. But if you know that you're able to enjoy life without other people constantly around you, if you know that you're able to conquer and do the things that you want to do while you're not always with somebody, holy cow, you will always know that you will be okay. And you will not be subjected to a relationship that derails you completely, where you lose yourself, you hate your life because you're scared of being single. I will never, ever succumb to a relationship for that reason. And a lot of guys end up in that marriage, in that relationship, and we know that guy who hates his life, but he's too scared to be single because he's afraid he won't be able to get somebody new, or he's afraid of just being alone for that intermediary period where he has to find somebody new again. If you enjoy your life single, or you know you can enjoy your life single, you will never have that fear. It's like the ace up your sleeve that you got at all times. Number 2, it gave me more time to figure out who I am as a person. I have a very strong established identity that is positive, and I've worked on this. I've worked on crafting this. When you're in a relationship with somebody, you don't always get the benefit of being able to really discover who you are. There's always some overlap that happens. You see a lot of women, they kind of like morph into a new person once they're dating somebody new. Guys do that too. And they do it subtly without them even noticing. So during my formative years where I was in high school and later on in my 20s, yes, I dated women, but I wasn't immersed in their lives. I didn't change into a new person when seeing them. I knew exactly who I was in my late 20s because I had done so much time being by myself and discovering who I was without those influences. If you have the time to do that and you know who you are deep down inside, that is a power that no one can take away from you, ever. But the problem with a guy who spends all of his time in relationships is he almost doesn't know that. You can put bits and pieces together, but when it comes to being able to actually identify who he is, there's always that outside influence that makes it harder. Number 3, I didn't have anybody depending on me. Guys, stuff costs a lot of money these days. If you're a guy who's well off, even if you're well off, if you have somebody that you're paying for all the time, if you have somebody that you're compromising your time with, if you have somebody that you're thinking about first all the time, that is going to affect the ability to do things and create value and invest in yourself. If you have somebody dependent on you, yeah, that's going to mean less money for you. Most of the time, I do find that if you meet somebody who has the same amount of money as you, you can combine. But, the place I am right now, to find somebody who can deal with my lifestyle, to find somebody who can deal, with the amount of money that I make is really, really tough. So typically, if I get with somebody, they're going to be dependent on me. And if you're a guy who's in a good position, you're going to have someone who's dependent on you too. Although we have advanced in terms of like feminism and modernity, but we always will have women who will be dependent on men. Most women still expect the guy to pay for more stuff in a relationship than she will. There are a lot of women who want to do 50-50. My girlfriend is great on that. She does her best. But when it comes to most women, you will still find that a lot of them will be dependent on you. And so that's less money and in time and investment that you can put towards yourself to make yourself into the best person ever. I'm not saying you ride that forever, but I am saying that while you are single, savor it. And that meshes nicely into my next point, which is number 4. It allowed me to build self-sufficiency and my ecosystem. You hear me talk about building your ecosystem up a lot. Okay, that's the places you're going, the things that you're doing, and the people that you're keeping in your circle. If you have a good one, dating becomes a piece of cake. If you have a bad one, dating is always an uphill battle. You can do it, especially if you have good approaching skills, but being able to build all of that by yourself, knowing that you can do it again, knowing that you can do it anywhere, that is a skill that I only learned by being single for a very long time. I don't care who you are, you will start becoming dependent on your girlfriend for socialization, for your emotional needs, all that stuff. I don't need someone to do that for me. It's great that I have a girlfriend who can help me out with that, but I don't need that. So not only is my relationship better because of it, because I'm not dependent on her. Women don't want a guy who's dependent on them. They like to be able to help that guy out. And when he, there's sometimes that you are in need, she loves to be able to help out with that. But if you are totally dependent on her, like no woman's going to be into that. So it allows me to get a higher quality partner because I learned that. But also too, it gives me that fallback. So anytime, there's an issue or a problem, at the end of the day, I know if I'm alone, I can deal with that. It relates back to the first point. Me being in a relationship has really illustrated that. Number 5, it allowed me to go all in on myself. When you're with somebody, when you have somebody who's with you, dude, I don't care who that person is. If they are a really important person in your life, if they're family, if they're your girlfriend, you are going to start thinking about them much quicker. I've always said that you should not put your girlfriend above your health and your career, but she will be up there. And so it helps to be able to go all in on yourself and really dedicate to improving yourself as a man. Most guys who are in with families and relationships, they don't have the luxury of being able to go all in on themselves. They have to go all in, but include the people who are in their lives. And there's nothing inherently bad about that, but it's not like it when you're single. There's a lot to be thankful for that you're able to improve at the rate that you're able to improve at. I find that guys who are single, who lock in, can improve drastically quicker than a guy who is in a relationship. I've seen this consistently. The only issue is that most guys just don't go all in on themselves. They have to improve themselves because their girlfriend's getting irritated with them. So I find that on average, there are a lot of guys who improve in relationships. But if you truly go all in on yourself, the difference between the guy who's single and the guy who's in a relationship, the guy who's in a relationship will never catch the guy who's single. The guy who's single just has more time and more advantages. Number 6, it taught me to add value to others. Yes, you learn how to add value in a relationship, but if you're single, as a man, it's a harsh world sometimes. And if you don't provide value, people will just leave you. They will not talk to you. You will be lonely constantly. So if you learn to provide value, then people are going to be rushing towards you. They're going to be excited to hang out with you. You're going to be someone who they look up to. All of those things are going to happen, but they will not happen unless you learn how to do that. And I find that guys who are in relationships, they are just not pleasant people. I find that guys who are in relationships or guys who are always there, because they're so used to being with their girlfriend, they don't actually know how to add value in other areas. They have to think outside of the box almost to be able to do that. So if you're a guy, it forces you, if you're single, to learn how to start adding value in people's lives, because otherwise you won't be there. And that's an invaluable skill, not just in romance or in dating. It's an invaluable skill in your career, okay? Because you have to add value in order to receive value, okay? So it's taught me a very, very important lesson. And I wouldn't have learned that if I'd have been in a relationship all the time. Number 7, here's an easy one. You don't have to deal with kids. If you're not in a relationship, or maybe you're divorced and you still have to deal with your kids, you only have to deal with your kids sometimes if that's the case. And look, I think kids and children are one of the greatest joys in life. I think every man should strive to produce children, to produce offspring, and help raise those to adulthood, okay? I think that is your duty as a living organism, is to reproduce. However, when you're not doing that, it gives you a lot of time to free up and do fun things that you want. You don't always have to be the responsible one. You can let loose a little bit. And I really enjoy doing that sometimes. Even though I'm in a relationship, I can't let loose as much as I used to. But when I'm single, I can do whatever I wanted. Which meshes up nicely with number 9, which is you can do anything you want whenever you want. Don't underestimate this. The biggest thing that guys regret when they're in a relationship is they miss the freedom that they used to have. Women, ironically, don't miss their freedom as much as men do. For men, freedom, power, all of those things, it makes you feel like a man when you have them. But when you have a confined area that you can exercise in, I don't care what anybody says, you will not be able to do that as much. And yes, you will gain things in a relationship. Don't get me wrong. Love, stability, all of those things, a family, all of those things are incredibly important for a good, long-lasting life. That should be your goal. But when you don't have those things, have appreciation for it. Because when you have a bunch of kids, when you have a wife, when you have all those responsibilities and duties, and you can't just go out to things by yourself anymore, that makes it very, very difficult for you to really feel powerful and feel like you have ultimate freedom, which I think a lot of men desire. And for me, that was hugely important. I really enjoyed that aspect of me being able to do what I wanted when I wanted. And it exercises your ability as a man. If you see something that you want and you go after it and you get it, that is the ultimate sign of masculinity. And there's no better time to do that than when you're single. So if you're single right now, hopefully these 9 things helped you out, made you feel better about yourself. But in order for you to really accomplish and achieve the highest state of being a single guy, you really got to learn how to master getting women, attracting women and keeping them, okay? You can still be single, you can still see women, but you have to be able to know how to do that, because that's not freedom. If you have all this freedom, but you're not able to enjoy women or dating or any of that sort of stuff, what's the point? And then eventually, maybe you meet one you like and you can stop being single if she is good enough to overcome this great single life that you built. If you want to build that and you're not building it right now, click on the link down below and schedule a meeting with me or a member of my team. We'll go over your situation, figure out how we can help you. This is something that I help guys out with all the time. If you don't leave the program with a girlfriend, you will leave the program as one of the happiest single people you know. And there's no price that you can put on that. But for me, those are the main things that I really enjoyed about being single. There are plenty more. There's a reason why my channel is called The Single Guy. Yeah, those are some of the best things. Thanks for watching, you guys. If you made it to the end, consider subscribing. Reach out if you want help. Good luck out there.